What's going on, guys? This is Restless Corpse from VirtualBromance. This is day 6 of the 365 games challenge thing that I'm doing here, and I'm playing Parasite Eve from the PS1 era. Now, this was one of my favorite games back when I was a teenager, and to tell you the truth, it kind of snuck up on me. I didn't know anything about it. It's one of the games where I just went to the store and I was looking through the games the games case that I generally used to do, and every once in a while I'd pick out a game, and I actually thought this was a survival horror game from Square, so I was like, holy shit, a survival horror game from Square, that's got to be pretty cool. And when I got it home, you get into the first fight, it turns out it's an RPG, so it kind of blends the two. It's a survival horror and RPG, which is really well done. Back in the day, the graphics were amazing, the cutscenes were awesome, and some of the cutscenes, watching them now, are still actually pretty good. Like one of the first ones when the rat turns into, mutates into something. It actually looks pretty good. But what I kind of want to talk about today, being that I'm playing Parasite Eve, is older games in general. Now, Providence and I, we talk about old Final Fantasy games a lot, and Legacy of Kain and things like that, and we're really big fans of old games in general. And I kind of want to talk about how people who are sometimes put off by the older graphics or the clunky controls in the case of maybe Resident Evil are really missing out. And it's not just because these are games that we grew up with back then, and I'm not saying by any means that newer games, I'm not some kind of an elitist where I say new games suck and old games are awesome, and nothing can compare to them. That's because there are loads and loads of newer games that I hold near and dear to my heart, but and these older games aren't remembered fondly just because they're old and I'm being nostalgic. With games like Parasite Eve and Vagrant Story and Xenogears and stuff like that, they were really, really well made games, and they had really great stories, or really innovative systems. And back to what I was saying, I think that people who are put off by the old graphics or the controls are really missing out, because you can kind of say that it was a golden age in gaming. I mean, some people say that the SNES era was where it was at. Some people say that the PlayStation era was where it was at. And I kind of got to agree with both of them. I don't think that anybody on the planet would ever say that the N64 era was where it was at, but I digress. But just like Square, I've always said that Squaresoft was one of the greatest companies ever. They made so many good games. It was really hard for them to put out a bad game. And when they merged with Enix and made Square Enix, I started to kind of see the quality in their games drop a little bit. And that's just a personal preference, I guess. I can't really remember too many games that were made by Enix, because back in the day, the game studio really didn't matter to me much, which is weird because it's very important, especially nowadays when game studios pretty much make a certain type of game, as a rule, I guess. But back in the day, Squaresoft was really the only game company I really paid attention to. Otherwise, it was just if this game is awesome, I like it type of thing. Capcom kind of started crawling into the mix as well with the Resident Evil games, but it was never a holy shit, this game was made by Capcom, so I want to try it. Whereas when I saw a game was made by Squaresoft at the time, I was very quick to pick it up, no matter what kind of game it was. That's why I played even crap games like Airgeists, the Final Fantasy fighting game. Not so good, but I played the shit out of it or I tried it just because it was a Square game. So yeah, there are a lot of games that are going to be on this 365 thing that are old games, be it, you know, PlayStation, Super Nintendo. If I can get my hands on a working Genesis, there are some Genesis games that I really like. And that's not to say that that it's only going to be a bunch of old games, because I don't want anybody to think that. But you know, the catalog of old games is pretty giant. So if I'm going to be doing 365 games, you know I'm going to have to draw from that. But more about Parasite Eve. I think that it's really cool system. You can move around during the fights and avoid attacks. But when you attack, it brings up like a sphere, which I'm sure you've seen in the video so far. And the number of attacks is based on the rate of fire of the weapon that you're using, which you can upgrade. And that's another cool thing, is you can upgrade all of your equipment, and you can, with an item, it's just called a tool. Looks like a wrench. You can take like attributes from other weapons and put them on your current weapon, which destroys the older weapon, and you keep your current weapon. But by the end of the game, if you like a particular weapon, you can keep, every time you find a new weapon, if it's got bonuses, you can take those bonuses off and put it on the weapon that you like. Or if you find a weapon that's got better base stats than the weapon that you're using, but your weapon has been upgraded so many times, you can actually take those upgrades from that weapon and put them on the new weapon that you found, so that you don't ever have to be like, I need to stop upgrading this because I know I'm going to find something better. And there's different I guess abilities that the weapons have. Like the M16 that I'm using in the video here started out as a 2-shot, and what I did is I found an M9 that had a rate of fire of 3, and I took the rate of fire off the M9 and put it on the M16. I'm not real sure if it lowered the damage, because I remember when the M16 was a 2-shotter, it was doing crits of well, I don't know if they were crits, but it was doing like 20 damage per shot, and then when I put the rate of fire 3 on there, it was doing about 17. And I can't tell if that's because I'm fighting stronger enemies or not. I really wasn't paying attention, but in any case, I really like the system. I know that when the story is very interesting. It's kind of far-fetched, but that's how Squaresoft games were back in the day. I know when you beat the game, it unlocks an alternate, or not an alternate, but like a standalone dungeon. I believe it's the Chrysler Tower, or the Chrysler Building, and you got to try to get all the way to the top, starting at the ground floor. And I don't think I ever finished that, so I will probably be doing a video of that sometime, of me actually trying to finish that, because it's really tough, but you find really good stuff in there. So, in any case, this is day 6 of the 365 games challenge. I am Restless Corpse, and this is Parasite Eve, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.